Okay, well, let's just talk for a minute. Let's talk about DanMachi for a minute. Am I the only one that's getting sick of seeing Belle get beat up? Is that just me? Or is anybody else on the same wavelength? Because this is irritating. At this point, I'm just annoyed at how everybody shows up and just beats him. Now, of course, they always have the arc, oh, well, he got beaten. Now he has to train up and he has to come back and beat him later. That works once, maybe twice. When it's the premise of every single person he goes up against, it's irritating. And at this point, I'm starting to get annoyed with the show. Like, I'm sick of the whole, oh, Belle, we're gonna go get him. And, he can never win against these people. For once, I like to see somebody come after him and he beats him up. He's like, haha, come back with somebody stronger next time. Tell your goddess to send somebody better next time. That's something I'd like to see. You know, change it up a little bit. Sick of seeing the same thing. Somebody shows up, beats the tar out of Belle, and then he has to come back later and be stronger. Oh, goodness. Like, that works, just like I said, once, maybe twice. It doesn't work for every single enemy. Oh, because like when I was watching this episode, they were like, oh, we're going to kidnap the little rookie. And I'm like, oh, great. So somebody's going to beat him up again. And then he's going to have to get stronger to beat them again. Just for once. Just once. I'd like for him to just be able to beat the person without the extra time being wasted. It is what it is. I like for somebody to show up and just get destroyed by Belle just once. Because even when he comes back and he's quote unquote stronger, usually he just learned a different tactic or a new spell or something. But when he comes back, he still doesn't just destroy anybody. It's not like a freaking devastating loss for his opponent. Usually it's right there on the edge. He could have still lost. And that's what bugs me about this. He's never, ever a really strong character. Now I know what they're probably doing. They're saving his big feat or something great he's gonna do for the finale. Just like they did the first season. And that's cool and all, but you gotta do some stuff to keep people here. Because like with this episode, they were going into detail on stuff. Honestly, I didn't care all that much. But, you know, it was still nice to hear the extra story bits, like how Haruhime was, you know, in this noble house and Mikoto and her friends came and would sneak past the guards and take her out and whatnot. And that was a fun thing to hear and all, but it's not all that interesting. Like, they've already told us that, you know, she knew her when they were kids. That's all I need to know. I need to know this extra stuff. Heck, you need to show me a flashback. Mikoto had the exact same face as a kid, by the way. That was a little weird, but, you know, I didn't need the flashback. It's not something that I was just hankering for. I'd really like to see a flashback on these guys as kids. You know, I'd like to see exactly what they did as children to get her out of this place. Yes, of course. Sounds like a wonderful idea to me. Nope. That is not what I wanted to see. I didn't care at all. What I wanted to see was exactly what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. And we got that, but we got it really late into the episode. Like, they did a bunch of extra borderline filler crap. This could all be canon. It just feels like filler. Because sometimes canon material can feel like filler. Surprise! Sometimes some stuff is actually, you know, written by the author can feel like filler. It is what it is. First half of this episode felt like filler. And the second half was, you know, doing important stuff, but by that point I didn't care anymore. That's the problem with this season of DanMachi. It's just that it seems like stuff is dragging on too long. Like when they did the second episode and there was a whole episode of them running, I was like, this is too long, you know? And that's the biggest issue with this, is that everything seems like it's just dragging on. It's like One Piece. And I know there's a lot of One Piece fans, but you gotta admit, One Piece, every arc drags for freaking ever. That's why I had to freaking drop One Piece. It's like, oh, well, we're gonna do this. Oh, wait a second. We got a little more to do over here. We're gonna split the characters too, so they'll all have individual things to do, and they're all gonna take forever. Forever! We're gonna be forever with this. Trust me. And we're almost halfway there. Halfway there. Halfway there. Halfway there. Oh goodness. Yeah, but this show is just, it's gross, man. Cause like last episode, although I really liked the last episode because it was fun, it felt the same way. It was dragging entirely too long. They didn't need to be in the pleasure quarter the whole episode. It was just that it was entertaining while dragging on. And that's something that I will say that the One Piece fans do have, although it takes forever. There's plenty of parts in that that's really entertaining, that's dragging on. So I get why they can stay with it, but I can't stay with something too long that's just, it's super slow in advancing the story. It's like the last arc of Naruto, that whole war arc. That was entirely too long. It was stupid. Not to mention, if you watch the anime, it had the extra filler in there, so goodness, bad. But yeah. This episode felt like half of it didn't need to happen. And the second half, where it started to pick up, it was still a little too slow for me. And then the ending of the episode, where they leave you on that cliffhanger, which, because everything was so dreadful leading up to it, I thought there was still more show to be watched. I didn't even realize that we were at the end of the episode. And then it just cuts off. And I was like, oh, the episode finally starts to get interesting. They go into a dungeon, which, by the way, isn't dungeon in the title of this series? When was the last time we were in a dungeon? Episode 1? What the flip? I was like, oh, we're going to the dungeon. Yes, this is going to be great. And then the Amazons show up to capture Belle. And they had a freaking cloak or veil or whatever the flip is called over Haruhime, because of course that was Haruhime they had in the dungeon. And apparently she does buff spells, so she grants buffs to her teammates. So they brought her down there, and I was assuming that that's what would be uses bait to catch Belle, but I guess technically, since they don't know that he's there trying to get her, they can't know to use her as bait, because that would have been stupid. I'd have been complaining about that. How'd they know to use Haruhime as bait to bring in Belle? Oh, this is stupid. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. I can't deal with shows that drag on for too long. Like, when you have limited time. See, it was different when you had Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball, all that stuff. They have these long arcs and extra filler and stuff because they're constantly running. When you have a limited time for a season, like when you get 13 episodes, 12, 13, I don't know how many episodes in a season, but when you get a certain fixed amount of episodes, you have to make them count. You can't just make them all drag on with a freaking boring narrative. Because the first part had an interesting premise. War games. That sounds fun. It was lackluster. It had some decent moments in there, some interesting characters, but overall it is not something I'd want to see again. And now we've got this arc, which is freaking the princess arc, let's call it that. The princess arc, where they have to get Haruhime. I'm assuming that's going to be the goal of this. Who knows what's actually going to happen. But With this arc, it seems like it's gonna be really dull, because even the premise of just saving a prostitute is not very fun. Doesn't sound like a great thing. If I told you we're gonna watch an anime about a guy that's gonna be rescuing a prostitute from whatever situation she ended up in. First off, we would call the guy a simp. And second, we wouldn't waste our time watching it. Let's just be honest. But since this is DanMachi Season 2 and they've already got us here because Season 1 was fun, they got us here with Season 2 and now they're dragon crap. And not real dragons. I mean, they're dragging. Goodness. I mean, they're dragging on the story. Not that they're pulling out dragons. Like, if next episode a dragon showed up, I'd be like, whoa! All is forgiven. I love dragons. Dragon, rock the dragon. Dragon Ball Z. Oh, man. But so far, this show is just, it's sad. Because I've rewatched Season 1 a couple of times. This season, I don't think I'd ever want to come and watch again. And I feel really bad saying that because I really like the first season. And we're not at the end yet. But the problem is, we've had enough episodes in this season for you to be able to make up your mind on whether you want to watch it or not. You know? So, I'm going to stick with it until the end just because I want to see what happens. But once I'm done, I'll probably never watch this season again. It's that bad. And it's a shame because it had so much promise. And I'm sure there's some people who are like, this is great. I don't know what you're talking about. Nah, screw you. I love seeing Bell get his ass beat every episode. I wish it could happen more often. If the entire 20 minutes of the episode is just him getting beat up, I'd be so happy. Just beat up by a different opponent every 2 minutes. That's what I'd like to see. And then we'll have another episode of him training in the background. We're not going to see his training, of course. He's going to go off the train, and we're going to see what other characters do while he's doing his training. We're not going to see him actually do any training because that would actually enrich the story and make us care about his hard work and effort. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to say he trained off screen and he came back stronger. Gosh darn it. Oh man. But yeah, this episode, I did not like it. And I hate to say that I did not like it, but I didn't like it. And it's a 2 for me. Oh man. It's unfortunate. And the whole Ishtar and Amazon thing, like, this whole series, this didn't just start in Season 2, so I'm not going to blame that on Season 2. But this whole series is just, basically, Hestia is the goddess that everybody likes because she's basically a little slow. She's cute and she's slow. And all the other gods and goddesses besides, like, Hermes are disliked. Hermes and the god that Mikoto used to be under. Everybody besides those couple of people, there are like a few gods that are just okay. And then you have Hestia, which is really nice for some odd reason. And every other god and goddess is a dick. And that's irritating as well. Because it's like, we beat the one god, you know, at the beginning of this. We beat Apollo. He was a dick. And his whole thing was to take Bell. Woohoo. Now we've got Ishtar. She's a dick. And her thing is to take Bell and then go fight Freya, who was also a dick. You get where I'm going here? Every god/goddess seems to be on the same wavelength here. And it's almost every one of them is capture Bell and be a dick. Woohoo. That's some great storytelling. Those are great villains. They're so different. Every villain God, it's like watching Dragon Ball Z again. Oh, goodness. But you know what? I say that, but actually, Dragon Ball Z even had a bit of diversity in their villains. Like Frieza. Frieza was a dick. Cell was not. Cell was arrogant, but he had all the rights to be. He was super tough. And his thing was, I'm the ultimate life form. I'm gonna blow up this planet and go elsewhere. Now, Boo, on the other hand, just blowing up everything and wanting to be just pure destruction, that was meh. But then again, the Boo saga was meh altogether. So, I don't know. I guess my point is, when all of your villains are essentially the same character with a different look. Because, like, I like Ishtar a lot more than Apollo, but that's only because she's hot. That's the only reason. She could literally be Apollo, but she's female and hot. Oh, man. The funny thing is, I've barely talked about this episode. I've mostly just talked about how bad the series is going. And that tells you something, because if the episode was better, I would have focused on the episode. Because it was rather boring. Not much actually happened. And when it finally started getting interesting, it ended. There's nothing to talk about with this episode. It was a little, goodness. Let's see. It was bad. It was bad. That's all I'm gonna say. Anywho, let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments below. Maybe you guys feel differently. I don't know. It could just be me. But I'm about sick of this. And goodness, this week this week is just not all that great for anime. Now, I'm gonna watch Okai-san online after I'm done with this, so that might pick me up. But so far, I'm a little down because of this freaking episode. It's just, I expected more. I don't know why I expected more, but I expected more, and I was let down. It's like Kingdom Hearts 3 all over again. Anywho, tell me what you guys thought about this in the comments below. I will see you next time. Peace out, and have a great day.